Have you ever heard of the true beauty? Yes, this devcosts is a true beauty. You can just imagine how much manpower you are going to get through this development. Hey, this is Zlewikk. As you can see, you're not going to play a normal EU4 series. This is going to be a special episode with the goal to achieve, I think at least 10 million manpower. To do so, I'm going to start as Austria. I will stack devcosts bonuses and I will develop the military points, and I will stack the manpower bonuses. So, let's do this. My first step was to choose rivals. I picked Burgundy to have casus belli on them so I could get the Burgundian inheritance, Ottomans to kill them later, and Venice to do the same. On the ally side, I needed a strong ally, so I picked Castile. I needed papal influence for different bonuses, so I picked Papal State. And finally, I chose a few electors to ally for the mission to gain the personal union with Bohemia. In 1446 we gained the casus belli, and thanks to it we quickly won the war and gained Bohemia under the personal union. Now we had time and resources to take care of Burgundy. I immediately attacked them on the casus belli of Humiliate, and after over 6 years of fully occupying them, we managed to get the event and all of the Netherlands for ourselves. And just after it, I was also able to take the first HRE reform. With a little bit of luck, we also managed to get the personal union with Hungary without any wars during this. My first idea choice was innovative to get cheaper advisors, which means more power points, cheaper technologies, and obviously the innovativeness. Because after all, if we stack a lot of it, it will give us a significant bonus to the dev cost. And I was able to attack Poland to expand east, and then the Ottomans, because we needed new lands to add to the HRE to get the next reforms. Our ruler died in 1481, so thanks to it I was able to pick the second HRE reform. Second idea choice was quantity, first of all obviously because of the manpower, and of course the policy with economic ideas that we'll get later that is giving us development cost. Everything was going great, but in 1496 the Reformation started, so all we had to do is to attack all of these OPMs that got the centers of reformations, and we needed to enforce the legion of them so the centers would disappear. To achieve that, I was making claims on nations with alliance with the Protestant nations, so I'll be able to just separate peace them for enforced religion. In 1505, thanks to our conquest in Poland and taking care of the Reformation, we were able to take the third reform that gave us co-creation cost. Of course, in the meantime, new centers of Reformation were popping out, so I had to still take care of every single one of them. And just few years later, Reformation started, so I had another problem I had. But anyway, with good dealing of the Reformation and more promises in Poland, fourth reform came just in 1517. Third idea choice, as mentioned earlier, was obviously economic for the significant bonus to the dev cost, and another bonus to the same with the policy of quantity ideas. In 1536 Reformation was almost dead, there was just 2 heretic princes in the HRE that I couldn't convert because they were the free cities without the allies, but it was okay, I could take the 5th HRE reform that was disallowing any internal HRE wars. So right now, the next reforms were just a matter of a quick time. Now, after cleaning my own backyard, I could finally move east, and instead of conquering only Poland and Lithuania, I went after Moscow with the goal to form Russia. To keep getting next reform faster and faster, I was adding all of the eastern provinces to the HRE. In 1541 we inherited the throne of Bohemia when our ruler died. Thanks to it we had our own vote, but it already didn't matter. But at least we had a lot of new provinces with high development, but right now I'm not going to state them. What is important here, I could change my government tier to kingdom thanks to that. As mentioned, 6th reform was just a matter of time, and thanks to it, the throne of the HRE was always inherited by us, and we had a religious peace within the HRE. In 1555 I was already able to revoke the privilegia, but remember, if an elector disagrees with this reform, he will go out of HRE instead of becoming your vassal. So my goal over here was to improve relations with all of those disagreeing electors to keep them within the HRE. It took us several months, but it was definitely worth it, as we weren't rushing at this point. At the same time, we were able to maintain level 5 advisors. With the tier 5 guarantee reforms like, parliament, it might give us culture conversion costs. It is going to be awesome, so let's pick it. I'll show you later what I did with that. With the fourth idea, we needed to think about our future expansion and all of the subjects, so I took influence ideas. In the meantime, I managed to get Habsburgs on the Castilian throne, and the second they didn't have an heir, I claimed the throne and declared the war. And thanks to that, here we are with another personal union. As we are going to form Russia in the future, I needed to switch our culture as quick as possible, so I stated all of the provinces of Muscovite culture, I destated a lot of provinces in my homeland, and thanks to that, as you can see, I was able to switch our main culture to Muscovite. So in the future, I will just click one button to switch to Russia. I'm not going to do that already, because Austria has a lot of great bonuses that we are going to need for our conquests and annexation of the vassals. After around 15 years of choosing parliamentarism, I decided that I'm a complete moron and I shouldn't have picked that because it's disabling me the nobility and I'm not taking the military power points from that. So I simply went for the absolutes because I didn't want to go for the quarter country in the future. At this point, every second time the burghers were having over 60% of loyalty and bonus to the development cost, I was using spare mill points to get more manpower. Of course, this number is still quite high, but will get way lower in the future. And the main reason for that was building universities around the year 1600, and the cost went down rapidly, as you can see. So since now the development was even faster and better. So we are not spending 20-30 points, but 5 to 10 points, or maybe sometimes a little bit more, but it was our new standard in the development. Yeah, and I almost forgot what is very important over here, that over 20 development, the cost of developing is increasing significantly with every creek. So theoretically, we should have 9 development on admin and diplo points, and 10 development on mill points on every province, to be efficient. So this was our manpower map mode in 1606. It's way greener than the rest of the Europe, but it still wasn't enough. So yeah, but still, thanks to that, our maximum manpower was 400,000. Next milestone that we had to achieve was switching our religion to Orthodox. And thanks to that, we not only received a bonus to the local manpower in the provinces, but also development and construction costs from the icon. Obviously, religion is very important for our manpower. So the next choice in the ideas was religious, which also gave us a great casus belli on every different religion than ours. On top of that, it also gave us bonus to culture conversion cost with influence ideas, and culture will be also very important over here. So step by step, we are decreasing our development cost right here. And what is the difference? Just 26 years since we celebrated 400,000, we already have 800,000 of the maximum manpower. Thanks to mentioned policy to culture change, I already started doing so in Poland and Hungary, and of course with the plan to have at least accepted culture everywhere in the stated provinces in the future. And since we had religious ideas, I started expanding towards trade companies really quickly, because we will need every single merchant from over there and we can get some manpower inside the trade companies. And another very important aspect over here are trade centers. On level 2 trade center, we are getting a discount of 10% dev costs, and on level 3 trade center, we are getting this bonus for the whole state, and also whole state is getting 33% more manpower. 1 million maximum manpower by 1654. Just look on all of this green. To increase that furthermore, I had to pick Aristocratic Ideas. Why? It gave me a significant amount of manpower, and on top of that I'll have 2 policies for manpower from that, and I preferred to pick that earlier because later we have to spend all of our mill points on developing when we'll be having the golden era and all of the bonuses unlocked. So by 1700 we managed to conquer most of the Ottomans, part of Egypt, most of France, most of Italy, most of China, and we were already in India. And as you can see, at this point our maximum manpower was 1.8 million. By 1713 I embraced enlightenment, which gave us another bonus to culture conversion costs, which you can see already was quite nice, and I started even more conversions. And as you can see, I'm just waiting for this perk for diplomatic reputation to soon from Russia. Yes, here comes this super awesome perk that I'm going definitely to use. So right now I will have to annex Castile and maybe some nations from the HRE, because like initially I wanted to annex HRE by the bottom, but it turned out you're losing the Southern government form, which I'll need for the manpower. So I have to eat all of those nations, just the chosen nations, just by annexation. Like, screw the 10 million manpower, this is the best thing that you're going to see in this campaign. Muscovy is under the personal union of Georgia. Alright guys, this is the right moment to form Russia. So let's click it. And the first thing that you can see is the government form of Tsardom that is giving us 20% more manpower. So our maximum power is almost 2.5 million already. What is more important for our developing provinces is 10 more states right now. We are running out of provinces to develop, so this will be definitely useful. But of course this is not all, because I was waiting with forming Russia to get this perk as well. So we are having 30 new states right now to develop. Of course it took us a lot of time to choose the states, because it was like huge choice, which was something in Bulgaria, in Spain, something in Eastern Europe. Of course, after stating we needed to get the development cost edicts and at least level 2 centers of trade, and in the best states with the biggest amount of the provinces that we can develop, also level 3 trade centers. And the last step, giving those provinces to boyars, because if their loyalty is over 60, every province that they are owning is giving plus 20% of the manpower. And the map is almost fully green over here, as you can see. Right here I might present to you another reason why Russia is the way to go. They are getting a permanent bonus from the event for 20% more of the manpower. And bonus by bonus, we just got to almost 3.5 million of the maximum manpower. With another idea group unlocked, the choice was quite easy. Exploration ideas. One might say, why the hell you would pick exploration ideas on this time and with Russia? Let me show you. We are going to get plus 10% manpower policy with quantity ideas and plus 33% manpower from the aristocratic policy. This is going to be just awesome. With the 27th administrative technology we had two things. Administrative efficiency, which allowed us to piece out cheaper and to core also cheaper more provinces, but also development efficiency, which I'll show you in a second. But first you can see right now my goals were mostly to conquer trade companies for the national merchants and manpower inside those trade companies, and nations that are colonial empires like Portugal, because if I fully annex them, I'm also taking over all of the colonial nations, which will give me also more merchants. Have you ever heard of the tribute? Yes, this devcosts is a tribute. You can just imagine how much manpower you are going to get for this development. Of course, we are still limited by the states, but the amount of the states that we have allowed is significantly improved. So the map is getting greener and greener over here, while in Asia we are having a beautiful border in India, while getting also some manpower slowly from China. Before 1750 we achieved 6 million manpower. It might seem that it's not that much and we might not be able to get it to 10 million before the end of the game, but I'm seeing it quite nice because right now we're going to start the golden era, and as you can see on those numbers we still have plenty of really cheap provinces to develop. Here you have the proof after 16 years. 16 years of golden era, our manpower is already 8.5 million, so I think there will be no problems to achieve our main goal. Here I'm not sure if my choice was the best, but As the dev cost of most of my provinces was getting to around 10, and I could still develop provinces in China for around 3, I started developing a little bit in China and India because of this cost difference. And yes, as you can see, I forgot to mention that trade companies are having buildings for the dev cost. So it was really cheap to develop that, and I think in the definite calculations it was better to develop for 3 over here than for 10 or even 15 in my states that were fully developed. Oh boy, here we are in the end game, and as you can see in 1818 our maximum manpower is 9.2 million, so yeah, we are below the goal. But we still have 1. Policies to turn on, and 2. State edicts to change from the development cost to manpower. Just turning on the policies made our maximum manpower to 10.8 million, so we're already above the goal. After 20 hours of changing the state edicts in 81 states to manpower, we managed to get it to 11.6 million, so we still have a few points to increase that. I was thinking about building a lot of things and then disbanding them to get manpower from disbanding, but I forgot that when you reach the cap of your manpower you're not getting anything. So this 80 million troops that I built up was for nothing. By the way, 3 million streltsy over there. Anyway, that's the time to finally use slack and recruitment, and let's see how much we can get. And this is awesome number 53 million manpower. Now we can fight, I guess. You know I'm the fanatic of stats, so at the end I'm going to show you a few of them. This is the manpower map mode in the game. That is the development map mode. This is how the religion map mode looked like, so all of my states were Orthodox. And finally the culture map modes. So basically 95% of my states were either my culture or accepted culture. Lastly, I'm going to show a few stats from Skanderbeg, which is a great tool created to get a lot of stats from the save game that you cannot really touch inside the game. So first of all, this is the dev improvement, so how many each province was developed. You can see clearly where my provinces were. This is how it looks on the manpower map mode in the Skanderbeg. It's a little bit better than in the game, because in the game everything goes green, and here there are different types of green. And finally you can see I spent almost 40,000 power points on developing. Most of it, like 80% of it, was on the military points, so we are quite efficient. And I also seen the data that 35% of my total development was for developing the provinces. So yeah guys, please check out this tool, skanderbeg.pm. Okay, I think that's all for today. If you enjoyed this type of content, guys, it took me 2 weeks to create that, please leave a like and comment it, and of course if you want to see more content in the future, especially from the Emperor update, please leave a subscription. See ya!